Okay.
Wait.
Are we live? Nope.
10 seconds. Okay, now we're live. Do your thing, Erwin. Work your magic.
Doing it live!
Oh boy.
Welcome back to another episode of Brandbeats. Sorry.
Oh.
All right, welcome to another episode of Brandbeats. What season is it again?
Season 5, episode 2.
Season 5, episode 2. We had like a really good conversation last. Why are you laughing? We had a really good conversation on the last podcast, episode 1, where we just kind of recapped almost everything we've been talking about, from the idea of platform brands to decentralized branding and all of these ideas around brand building and authenticity when it comes to storytelling and how to tell these stories, and how it seems like it's becoming, or it's now a time when brands are realizing that they have to release control and honestly give control to the communities that they're trying to connect with, which is a beautiful thing. And that leads us right into what we're in now, which is Black History Month. So I don't necessarily know if we have like a very specific topic, but one of the things that we were talking about at the start of this call, or at the start of this Zoom, was the curation of Black stories and Black content, and how sometimes even something that is framed as a good thing ends up being a thing that actually narrows the experience of narrows the Black experience. And Eric gave an example of when George Floyd was first murdered, and all of the organizations and brands started to really embrace BLM on Amazon and all of the different like platforms to watch stuff. There was like Black stories and Black storytellers, and underneath that, it just seemed that the algorithm just like grabbed everything that was ever created by Black people without any sort of consideration on what is actually strong representations of the Black community, or positive representation of the Black community. And so I think going into Black History Month, you begin to see a lot of brands jump on the clout chasing, or like, I need to like say something, so we'll curate a bunch of Black stuff and we'll put it in this little like silo over here so we can say we have it. And just talking about how we feel about that. Just the honest conversation around curating of Black things into only Black spaces.
Right. So I think one of the examples we used was Target. And at first I was like, yeah, I walk into Target and I see all these like Black things front and center, even though I know Target is like, supported Black businesses. I was like, yeah, like I'm here for it. I could just shop and pick up like all these things for like my family and friends and shit. But like, Erwin, you made a good point of being like, okay, well, also people have the choice to walk past it and not pay attention to it, whether it's just like in your everyday shelf or aisle or whatever. And I think that like brings up a good point too, is like, what are we pushing and why?
Yeah, I think, because I didn't even think about that until we got on the call and started talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Because they have it. I went to their site and I see it, and it's like Black Beyond Measure. For some reason, I just think about Bed Bath & Beyond whenever I see the word Beyond in this typeface, which is really not good. But even though it's like beautiful, and like the fact that they're curating all of these like amazing Black products, it almost doesn't take into account people's bias and unconscious bias. So by placing all of these Black things in this one space, it allows people to walk past it and potentially miss a product that they would love, even outside of it being Black, right? Black products just aren't good because they're Black. They're good because they're good products and they can compete with any other product. That's what makes a good product a good product. And to me, what it also does is begins to say that, oh, you have to like this because it's Black, which
Mm.
removes the universal impact of that actual product and says it's only impactful because it's Black, right? And so if you look at like all of the art that's been created by Black creators, people might say like, oh, I don't relate to it because it's like Black art. But the reality is a lot of those stories and a lot of those creations and a lot of those things actually had ripple effects outside of what they created and impacted all culture, impacted all of society. Go to like the the like filament in the light bulb. Like all of these things were like creations of like a Black inventor or a Black creator, and it isn't just something that only impacted Black people. And so to me, when we begin to only put it in these categories, and I'm just speaking off top, like I haven't been in the Target and I don't know if these products are like dispersed throughout the rest of Target, which it might be. I think just in theory, only putting Black things in this like Black curated box allows people to skip over it and the doesn't give it like the stage that it really deserves and doesn't recognize the universal impact of these things.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but then there's also like, how do you recognize like Black things? You know, like what other kind of way can you be like, oh, a Black person invented this or a Black person came up with this? Like, you know, I'm constantly learning every day still like, oh wow, we invented the lawnmower, we invented like the street lights, you know, like we invented all this stuff. And it's like if no one told me that, I would have never known. So how do we continue to like educate folks, but not give them the opportunity to walk past it, you know?
But I think that's what it comes down to. We should obviously have Black History Month, and we should obviously have all of these things. But when we relegate all of these stories to this 1 month, and all of the brands are focusing on these stories during this 1 month, it allows people to skip over it. It allows people to not like see it as part of mass culture, but see it as part of like, okay, we're in this month, we have to focus on it. It's a movement right now, right? Whereas like if you tell these stories throughout the year, you continue to tell them, you continue to give them space, then I feel like you begin to see these stories as hyper impactful. That they aren't just something that exists in a silo or exists only in that month or exists only in this Black curated section. Like I feel like that's the only like and I feel like this is the duality of it or the both sides of it is just like it's obviously beautiful that they're doing, but at the same time, it just feels like there's so much more that can be done that isn't just a quick fix, that isn't a marketing play, but it's truly changing how you systematically curate your products within your stores or on your media platforms to begin to tell these more nuanced stories. It's more work on the platforms, it's more work in the stores, but that to me is what's needed to help break down the mental gap that people have when they see these types of products.
The way I see it as like a non-Black person is like, you know, to everyone's point, it is, you know, skipping it over almost, but even more so than that, it's almost like an excuse for us to do the bare minimum as non-Black people. It's like, okay, just for a month, we'll celebrate Black excellence. And then what about the rest of the fucking year, you know? And it brings to mind, to me at least, like something that's very recent, the Harriet Tubman kind of debate about the $20 bill. Like that was something that Joe Biden was pushing hard for, but like, what about the stimulus check? Like, what about reparations? Like, you know, it's, I mean, to me, you know, she should be on $20 bill. Like Andrew Jackson was a fucking racist and a slave owner, but also like, even more so than that, like beyond that bare minimum, what else can we do? You know, like I think these performative things are fine, but what actions can you actually take to make things better, to make lives better for Black people? So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Yes, that's important.
Yeah.
Run me my money.
But honestly, like even something like Harriet Tubman on the bill, to me, begins to do what we're talking about a little bit. because now you're seeing a face there
True.
all of the time. It's even what having a person of color VP who's a woman represents for like young women of color, because now they see themselves somewhere that we hold value to, right?
Yeah.
In money, we place value on. So if you see someone who looks like you on this thing that everybody essentially places value on from a very young age, it's like ingrained in your mind that I have value. Obviously, I'm not saying that your value is the same as the money's value, but that has to be true. Like it's ingrained in like how we also create media. We understand that media impacts and affects people subconsciously, and then ultimately drives their decisions and their actions. In the same way, all of the things that are like we come across in our life shape our perception of ourselves and the world, and then ultimately shape our action at the end of the day. And so when I begin to see myself on things that are held of value by general society, then I'm going to see myself as more valuable in this space that wasn't traditionally created for me. So to me, like that one is actually beginning to do it. When you narrow my story, when I'm like a young person and I think my story is only narrowed to this 1 month, I'm like, so I'm not, again, you might not consciously think this, the kid might not consciously think like I'm not important, but that becomes like a hidden trauma of like, my story is not told all year. So my story must not have impact outside of that month, which then in turn might need impact outside of my own microcosm or my own small community. So it really does a disservice when it's only relegated to the Black stories bucket, or it's only relegated to these like slivers of time.
Yeah.
When these cultures and these stories are like massively impactful. So I mean, even if we think about like women of color, like those stories are so important, and they shouldn't just be relegated to like a woman of color box. Have that box so people can discover it, but at the same time, how do you put it at the top of the feed? How do you put it at the top of the thing so people aren't thinking like, oh, I'm about to watch a woman of color movie because I have to right now because I feel bad.
I don't know if Amazon just knows me, but like without saying like, oh, like here's a box of like a bunch of Black stuff, it like shows up as soon as I turn on my Fire Stick. It's like One Night in Miami, or like Sylvie's Love, and like all these other like movies that like I just never thought to actually like look, or like I'll get to it, but it just like pops up there and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch a movie. This is the movie I'm going to watch. And I was like, I think we were talking to like Parkhurst, where it's like, okay, having like a separate category is nice, but like when do we just get blended? Like when does it just become a part of like, these are options for me to watch. It's not just like Black shit, but it's in the queue. Like for an example, like Watchmen, I didn't know that there was a whole story behind Watchmen. And I watched it. I didn't know because I was like, oh, I've seen the movie. Like it's completely different in my eyes. I know whatever, but like I watched the Watchmen. I was like, holy shit, this is beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? But like, it wasn't hyped up to me in that way that it was like a Black story, but it was, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like on us as marketers and like brands in the way we frame it, because you're right. Like, why do we just call them Black stories? They're just like, I mean, you know, not to say that they're not applicable, but they are in a way universal. Like, for example, Jojo, for our Monday morning meeting, you put up that poll, like, oh, which movie do you guys like better, right? Moonlight or If Beale Street Could Talk. And to me, those aren't just Black movies; those are just fucking great films. Period.
They're great,
you know. And like,
yeah,
people like Jordan Jenkins, like or Barry Jenkins, sorry, Ava DuVernay, right? Like Ryan Coogler. These are just fucking great filmmakers. They're not just great Black filmmakers. Like, they're great filmmakers. Period. So I think it's almost just the way we frame it and the way we see it. Like, there is a little hint of like segregation almost, right, in the way we like see these things, which is to me is kind of odd, you know.
And I don't think it's in like how, I think, because I went through this thing of like, I don't want to be seen as like a Black creator. I just want to be a creator who happens to be Black. But then I realized like I do want to be seen as a Black creator, but I don't want that to be how you bucket.
Yeah.
I want you to
Yeah.
see me as a Black creator, but I want you to see me as a Black creator because there's so much power in that Blackness because of
100%.
what my people had to go through in the space I had to hold for other people and how that imbued me with a certain level of, or like allowed me to have certain experience that gave me empathy for others,
Yeah.
right? So for me, it's like I'm now at this point, and I feel like a lot of Black creators are at that point where it's like, yeah, we don't want you to just bucket us, but we want you to see us. We want you to see us, and we want you to understand that we are Black creators, and we're bringing this perspective that has always been universally impactful, but you tried to put it in a box. And that's why we didn't want to be called Black creators. Because by, in your mind, us saying that is us is kind of like bucketed. Like I feel like POC creators think in multiple dimensions, not getting like weird and metaphysical. I'm saying like think in multiple dimensions and be like, we don't just see everything as like homogenous. We don't just see everything as like it has to fit into this like one sort of silo or this one narrow idea. And it feels like other people have that perspective. So then when we're like all of these different things, they're like, whoa, shit, no, you're this. Like to be like all of these different things is scary for people. Yeah. When for us, that's just how we live because we've had to live in all of these different worlds. So for us, these multiple dimensions aren't scary, they're just existence.
It's kind of like what we said like last time, where it's like you can just hire a face, but like, are you actually pulling us as resources? It's because like if you are, you know, Target has Black people at the table with them, then I'm sure someone would have been like, don't put us right at the door and, you know, shove everything there. Like, you know what I mean? What we were just talking about, where it's like, okay, how can we make this a little bit more progressive so that we are showing our support for like, you know, Black creators, but it's not just smack in your face and people have the opportunity to walk past it. So I think like what you're saying is real. It's like, hire me as an individual, but know that I am Black and that I can bring a perspective that will elevate you.
Like all of them. Yeah. It's not even just going to elevate the Black experience of the brand. It's actually going to elevate the universal experience of the brand. Like I just read like an article talking about DE&I programs where it was saying like some people like question about having Black people or having POC as like leads of these organizations and DE&I organizations. And they were like, well, that's all well and good to have that question. The reality is that a woman of color has had to hold space. And we've said this many times, had to hold space for so many other people that they actually know from their life experience, other people's lived experience. Right? Like somebody who isn't a woman of color, who hasn't had to hold space for other people, leading that sort of organization, that person would have to do so much research in order to understand the things that this person just naturally understands because they live. So that's like why you need those like people in those spaces, because not only is it helping just that one group, it's actually helping everybody because of the space held for that person's entire life for other groups. Do you see any like organizations doing it well? Any companies doing it well that have impressed you? Yeah.
Ulta,
like outside of Calvin Klein and PG Lang.
No, did you see Ulta?
Joshua Kissy?
I think
Joshua Kissy. But it's like that's what you got. You just have to give the fucking lens to these like
give it to them.
These great Black creators.
I was like, damn, Ulta. That came strong. That was beautiful. Mm-hmm. But like we mentioned, I think a lot of brands are like mad quiet right now. I think they're nervous. Rightfully so, they should be. But I mean, if they took the time to like hire the appropriate team, you know, educate themselves, like it shouldn't be this big of a difference. We should be seeing more content just like executed appropriately.
I have a question for you too. Like again, being that I'm an outsider to this, Black experience. Would you rather that brands just listen and almost like post nothing this month just to like, they're observing, like they're just being very intentional with it? Or would you rather that brands are just reactive and they post something right away, but there's not much substance behind it? Does that make sense?
Neither.
It's fair.
I mean, for me, it's almost like I would, in my perfect world, I would like to see when I go on Target's page, just a line of like clothes, and it is Black products, but they didn't have to say it, kind of what like everyone was saying. It was like, shop our t-shirts, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's our shit. That's what I like to see. And if,
I feel like if they didn't do that, oh, never mind, you're right. Like if it says Black words on it, if it's like Black power and all that stuff, then I feel like they have to. They can't just be like, I don't think any of them do, but because then we'll give them shit for that, for sure.
Target has a shirt that says racism tried to steal my joy. Ha, tried.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, you have to say that was created by a Black person. You cannot just be like, Target made this.
But I mean, like, it doesn't have to be like this. I mean, like West Elm. I know West Elm now is, putting a certain percentage of like Black-owned things, Black businesses in their stuff. Like, just have it up there. You know what I mean? You don't have to say like Black power, or you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be so extreme. Just like give us money. Like, you know what I mean? Support our shit. I'd be fine with that.
Like, I do think what the organizations are doing is interesting. And maybe I'm just like hypercritical now. Because I do feel like giving the storytelling platform to creators of that community, whoever's month it is, giving the platform to those people is like the way to go. Right? Like we talked about that last time. It's like, just don't say anything and just give the platform to the people in that community, and then do the work on your back end, on your like internal systems and your hiring and your D&I work and on what your guys are doing. Like, do that work, and then storytelling during those months, give the platform to the people. Like,
I didn't know that was Joshua Kissy, and when I just saw it, I was like, this is fucking beautiful. And then I found out it was his, and I was like, oh, duh. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need to know it was him, but it felt right. You know what I mean?
I was like, you should, anytime you see beautiful Black faces, like, honestly, that's like just done like that. I feel like it's usually Joshua Kissy.
I mean,
he's so good.
He's good. But yeah, I think too, again, kind of another part of answering your question is, I would feel better knowing that your internal, shit is taken care of before you just blast like, we love Black people, or just people of color in general. I think that we're still struggling with that and what that looks and feels like. I know DE&I is like relatively new to a lot of organizations, but it's like, okay, bro, like keep focusing on that, like keep building that, keep asking questions, keep hiring outside support, because there's a lot of Black people who want to teach, but you need to pay them. Like, pay them and help fix your shit. That's what I would prefer,
I almost see it as like an action speak louder than words thing, right? Like, they could say as much as they want, but if they have nothing to back it up, it's like it's just fucking empty words. It's meaningless, So that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's almost, to me, hypocritical for them to say shit and not do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like if I go into Ulta and, I give them a job application, they're like, you got to come with your hair straightened. I'll be like, fuck you. Like, I want to blast their shit, because you guys just put out this beautiful content, but your shit ain't together.
Honestly, I feel like this is going to just sound like being a dead horse. Just being genuine in the story you're telling and understanding that you're more than a company. You're a functioning member of society as an organization and a brand with a internal living ecosystem, and you're a living organism with functioning parts. those functions are your employees that you need to make sure that you're like taking care of, and obviously creating equitable space and safe space. But when you're engaging and interacting with the community, it needs to be on a human level. And that to me is like, even when I think about the brands that I love, not because of like what they make, but because of like who they are, it's like a Supreme and Off-White, those brands were rooted in something very real and very authentic. And so the stories that they were able to grow from and continue to grow with are these very real and authentic stories. Like they have their issues, they have their problems, but there's something real and like palpable in like who they are and how they communicate. Whereas like when you look at some of these other brands, it just feels like they're like trying. Like they feel try, like a lot of stuff just feels try hard right now.
Yeah.
You look at like marketing and advertising, and it's just interesting to see the parallels between hip hop, and that's the impact of hip hop on spaces, places, community, lifestyles, and all that stuff, and the impact of streetwear on spaces, places, community, and lifestyles. These two things that people thought weren't going to be anything weren't past being like urban culture and representative urban culture, just placed into these like small curated boxes of like your favorite rap, your favorite this. Like those things now become mass culture. So I feel like those two things are the representation of what we're talking about, which is to say there are these universal stories being told and have always been told by these two spaces and by Black creators. And when you begin to recognize and let those things penetrate and actually like flow into the rest of the spaces, you begin to see impact like you do with what Virgil is doing at LV, right? Or how he's like creating programs. You begin to see impact like with Pharrell and Black Ambition, but then also skincare, also this, also this. I feel like that is the beauty of when you just allow these stories to exist outside. Like they are Black stories, but they exist outside of just being Black. Blackness is what gives them, is what gave the creator the flavor. And when I say that, I mean like it gave them the empathy to make the thing, but it's not the only thing that it impacts.
You just aged yourself when you said flavor.
Yeah, I know. I say that a lot, and you know what? I don't care.
Put it on a t-shirt. It's great.
I could have said, I don't know, what do youth say?
I don't know. I'm old
do they
too,
say like,
don't they say sauced? Like sauce?
I feel like I was gonna say sauce, but I feel like sauce is old too.
Oh, I hate TikTok.
I mean, we could just be like, they gave him the moistness.
Erwin's pushing hard for moistness. Erwin is like on a moistness campaign, on a moistness crusade.
Ooh, a moist crusade?
I'm done.
Going on a moist mission.
To bring this back to something relatively serious, something that you said, I think on Instagram, Erwin, like Black history is our history. Like it's everyone's history, quite fucking literally, you know, like Africa is the cradle of civilization. So, you know, I mean, it's ubiquitous, right? And Black culture is our culture. Like you mentioned, 90% of everything that we enjoy, you know, was started by Black people. And it's like, y'all are like the most influential, but also the least respected. And to me, that dissonance is like disappointing. But yeah.
Listen.
Hold on. Did you guys get on this dog coin?
What?
Dogecoin?
What is happening?
He's talking about like cryptocurrency, right, Rowan?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna be here for another hour talking about cryptocurrency.
Yeah, let's reel it back in.
I just had to sell. That's why. Like it was dropping fast.
Wow.
All right. I feel like that we probably should just somehow find our way to talk about that as well at some point, because that was a major thing. Actually,
Yeah, that's true.
kind of. Hold on, it's going back up, motherfucker.
Oh wow. Paul Mooney had a great quote. I'm not going to say it on here, but well, no, I can't. I guess it's everybody wants to be black, but no one wants to be black. So it rings very true. It's like everyone wants to like indulge in our culture, but when it actually comes time to like understand us or stand with us, like no one wants to really do that.
Yeah.
Why? When they can get our shit for free,
Damn.
But we're trying to change that, right? Like that's the narrative. I think it's hard to say like what all this is going to turn into. I know we're educating, we're pushing a lot of things out that people are like have no choice but to see. You know what I mean? Like even though I'm not seeing a lot of like Black history stuff on my feeds, I'm still getting a lot of like educational content, and I know that it's like hitting everyone. So it's like, okay, so what's going to come out of all of this? I don't know. I'm excited to see that.
Oh, to that point, Jojo, do you want to plug your new initiative that we're all super excited about?
I mean,
Jojo out here doing big things in the community.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Well, I started a social page that I was like sitting on for forever. But I wanted to kind of like build this community of like Black art that's like empowering, and it's inspiring. It inspires me every time I scroll down and see all these people that I admire. And I was like, dang, like, can I create a platform that just like highlights all this, that people can just like see, enjoy it, and live it. And so I've been doing that. And for Black History Month, I've teamed up with an artist agency, and every week we're highlighting Black artists, and we're putting little educational pieces in their stuff too. We're trying to give away passion planners just so people can stay aligned with themselves. It's a lot of stuff, but it's necessary, I feel like. And I'm excited to see what it transforms into. But yeah, we have rich history, and I've mentioned it before, like I wasn't taught any of it growing up. And so it's like, as I'm trying to educate other people, I'm also learning myself. So it's just a beautiful like road to be on.
Yeah, amazing work. Where can we follow it, Jojo?
It's BLAC_US, Black_us on Instagram. And yeah, I have a website. It's blackliberatedartists.com. So yeah, follow that. Follow that guy.
You heard Jojo. Everyone watching, follow, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Well, is that it?
You gonna talk about your launch? Wait now, because Erwin, you got some shit dropping too.
No. That's not important. What I wanted to
talk about was hold up, because you have look at behind you.
You have to see. You have to hear this.
What?
This is talking about what we were talking about, which is like what Dogcoin represented in its rise, and how it was actually sparked by non-professionals or sanctioned professionals. It's actually a reflection of what we were just talking about with streetwear, where it is the rise of the community, because the tools have been democratized, because now everybody has access to these things. There is no delineation between the professional and the actual sort of community and creator. And that's what the beauty of like right now is, to me, in like society in general, that there is no delineation. Like some people have titles, but everybody has access to just to create. And those people that are creating, and those people who are shifting things, who are changing markets, those people are creating and doing with a more pure heart. Like that's what's super interesting.
Okay, but can we go back and like, because I'm on his website and it looks mad sketchy. What is this?
What are you talking about?
Dogcoin?
Oh, don't go. Why are you on the website? Dogcoin is a Bitcoin.
I don't know what any of this is. you just gave this speech. I was like, let me Google it.
Do you not know? You didn't know what happened this past week with like GameStop?
Yeah, I heard about it, but like, it wasn't my money.
Erwin, what's the elevator pitch? Give us a 30-second overview.
But what I'm saying is what it highlights is something that's a lot deeper, because it was basically all of that was sparked by some Redditors as like a joke, right? So it's like these people aren't trained, or they like are day traders, but because we have things like Robinhood and all of these apps that allow us to day trade, they were able to basically take over and drive up the price of this thing that shouldn't have been driven up. So it went against all the predictions of the stock market, of all these professionals, and completely was like a what the fuck moment. And to me, that's the same as what we've seen in stream, or what we've seen in music. What we've seen in all aspects over the past couple of years is like the people who now have these democratized tools are essentially giving a big fuck you to like the traditional system and rethinking. And in that saying fuck you, it's almost forcing these big players to have to rethink that system and how that system works. Like that to me is super interesting. Like we talked about this idea of burn it all down. This is like me burning it all down. It's like going into it and then like shifting it and moving out all of like the muck and the nastiness, and then making way for a new wave of creator.
All right, I see what you did there.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I think it just shows like a larger trend, a larger thing that's happening, not just in fashion, not just in music, but it's just happening all over. Even from like the protests, like every single thing is saying this. It's like playing into this same sort of narrative, not narrowing all of these different things, but all of them are playing into like a transition in society as a whole from this old guard system to a new system that encourages the democratized creativity of people.
Yeah. Equity is working in some ways, for sure.
Yeah.
But with that being said, everybody should buy Dogcoin so that we can keep dropping that price up. Dogcoin to the moon. If we get it to $1, people are going to come out wealthy.
Wait, what else were you going to plug, Erwin? Trevor said you had something else.
No. Yes, you are. Plug it.
This isn't going to come out in time for 10 a.m. tomorrow.
So what? You're still selling stuff.
No.
Oh, because you're gonna sell out immediately. We know that you're hot shit, but can you just tell people what's going on?
It only sells for the weekend. So by the time this comes out, it's not gonna be relevant.
Oh wait, no, this is out right now.
Yeah, but who listened?
It don't matter.
We have 4 viewers right now.
That's what's up. And these 4 people are gonna buy
tell them.
T-shirt.
We need 4 more purchases from Erwin's stuff.
Yeah.
No, so I'm officially launching in March. January, February, March. Yeah, in March. The brand of Future is Color, which is going to be a storytelling platform that deals in artifacts ranging from short film, song, music, and clothing, as well as different podcasts, to explore the complex stories of Black and Brown people and talk about how they are universally impactful. So I'm just doing a pre-order drop this weekend for some of the clothes.
God, look at you two. So inspiring.
Short film coming March.
Oh, was that what you were teasing on Instagram? That little you block things out of your story. Was that what it was?
Oh yeah, we're doing planning right now for it.
Ooh.
We're working with an amazing dancer. We're creating one-of-one songs for it. So, which is super exciting. I've never got to be involved in the song creation process outside of me thinking I was a rapper and an R&B star in high school.
We all
Now
did. It's
you gotta
fine.
plug your old mixtapes.
No, I would never. Never.
On SoundClick.
No. But yeah, that's like I'm
Right?
really excited about it because I didn't think it would like turn
Yeah.
into this, but it's like it's a 3-part short film that like tracks and like explores the Black experience through the lens of this young Black male going from full acceptance of who he is through Black joy to dealing with internal traumas and what it is to be a man and quote unquote a man and dealing with like patriarchal masculinity and how that has like impacted him to not necessarily be able to really grow emotionally and deal with his feelings until he comes to the end of himself. And then at the end of that, the third one is him being ready to engage in actual relationships with the world in a healthy way. Now that he's dealt with, not fully dealt with, but is like aware of patriarchal masculinity and its harmful impacts or effects. Yeah.
Melon is pissed, but that was beautiful. I love that. I'm so excited for that.
Seriously.
Yeah, we'll see. Never made a film, so
Fuck it.
You got this.
Big things,
Like
y'all. You two are amazing. Jeez.
Oh,
And here I
thank
am,
you.
just doing nothing, just being me.
What? First of all,
you're out here being be good. You and Lizzie.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
That is a team
Also,
effort.
you are youth. You got a long time.
I
bro.
am. We'll see.
You got a long
But
time.
you're shapeshifter.
You're like,
You know what I mean?
that's what I'm saying. You're like 18.
I look like it for sure. Look at my face.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
No, Eric. I mean, like, especially within the agency, you know, you've become like my right hand on a lot of things. So, you know, you're not just not doing anything. I think you're great, especially at hosting these conversations, like engaging yourself, asking questions. I think, you know, whatever path you decide to take, like you're gonna fucking crush it.
Well, as long as I can get to your guys' level one day, that'd be the dream. So
the whole thing is you shouldn't want to get to our level. You should just want to get to your own level and exist in that space outside of anybody else's space.
Facts though.
That's cute. I like
Their
that,
wisdom.
Erwin.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
Erwin's old, so he got a little bit.
Honestly, we all should just want to get to Melon's level. That motherfucker just sits, gets
I would
fed,
love that.
just chills.
Meows all day.
If he feels sick, I take him to the he doesn't do anything. Like that's the level. That's what we
honestly
should be for. Rest.
You're right.
Rest and peace.
I feel like low key, you have moments where you're there because you're impossible to get a hold of. So
because
I think Melon gets it from his papa.
Yeah, because prioritize rest. Don't prioritizing work and like constant progress is the issue with our society. We need to prioritize rest.
Say that.
True.
And then rest and more rest and more rest.
All right. Anyway, do we have any questions?
I'm looking forward to being an old grumpy man yelling at people who like walk in front of me for no reason.
That's you now. That's you.
Yeah, but I'm like when you're old and grumpy, no one can say shit to you. Like that's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh boy.
Amazing. Also, when was the last time? Are we doing these once a month now, right?
Once every other week. Yeah. We try to. Obviously it's not working out, but
I feel like we can move it to once a month again.
I'm down for that.
Why, you ain't got nothing to talk about?
No, I'm saying like because I feel like both of the conversations from this one and the last one have overlap. So I feel like the conversations would be a lot deeper and like be able to cover more ground if we do it once a month.
I'm with that though.
Cool.
Also,
was there any questions?
From our 4 viewers, no, unfortunately not. Not this time.
That's okay. I hope y'all are like, you know, taking this free time to learn some things, educate yourselves, ask questions, read some books, buy some Erwin shirts.
Following Black_US on Instagram.
following me and my shit.
Doing all the
Yeah,
things.
all that.
Yeah, I feel like that stuff is like, go. That's it right there.
Yo, like I became a designer overnight, and I'm tired. I don't know how y'all do this.
Wait, did you made all the assets, Jojo?
Everything is me. The
Oh my
website.
God, you're so dope.
Yeah, see, but now you know managing social
So fucking talented.
profiles. Whew.
Oh,
It's like it's exciting because you get really excited about the content, and then you start doing it. You're like, oh my gosh, this is.
I
rough.
know. All that for like 15 likes. I was like, God damn.
You know what you need? You know what you need? You need some merch.
Are you gonna make me
You got to
some?
collab with Erwin.
Yeah, I don't care.
Hey, or I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah,
Don't try to play me. I know where you live.
You just send me what the mission is and all that stuff. I'll make you some merch.
My mission is to make some money. Honestly, we'll figure it out. Okay, cool.
All right. Well, on that note, see everyone next month. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
And happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.